Anything animal based, so
Alright, hopefully it's up and running.
limited fish.
Sure enough.
Are you kidding me? I got a whole deer to eat. I'm gonna eat
I
it.
didn't put anything in the op slide again.
You didn't tell what you're doing right now.
I think I was supposed to do something, but hey, Kyle. Hey, Kyle. Was I supposed to do something?
Yeah. Hey, Rhoda! It's your last day.
I know.
It's your last day?
Last day?
We got you a present.
I know, I saw that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
We'll miss you, Rhonda.
I know.
Happy last day. It's not the first time I'm hearing about it.
Want to stay after class and share some Rona? We're friends, right?
Alright, so I think everything is working right this time. Welcome to our first monthly safety meeting.
Where's the sign-in sheet?
There is no sign-in sheet because it doesn't matter anymore.
You gotta do a quiz.
Everything is online.
So we have to do a quiz even if we're in.
Yes. That's the whole point. It's the whole point of the thing. Competency, making sure you understand what we're actually talking about. Yes, retention. What?
English, please.
Is there questions about that?
Why don't we address that at the end of it?
Okay. Well, because most of.
I know, we're gonna have a lot of questions, that's fine.
Okay, so yes, I think we're all aware now. First Wednesday of the month, we're doing safety meetings. So let's get started. Today we are talking about behavior-based safety, safe driving techniques, vehicle policy, and rollover prevention. Chris, I'm gonna have Chris start us out here quick with a little, this is an experience that's kind of relevant to all the things we're going to talk about today, so you can come on up here. Sorry to put you on the spot. I'll play this video. You guys can kind of see, obviously, this is Chris's truck, not in the ditch. Obviously.
Kind of awkward, wouldn't it?
There he goes to this truck that is rolled over in the ditch, and I will let you kind of give your spiel on your experience here.
Okay. Well, I was just rolling up on Ross Road here, and right before this happened, there's actually a UPS driver there too. He went on top of the hill to call because I told him I didn't have service. He asked if I had a pry bar. He said a guy was stuck in the truck. We couldn't really get to him right off the bat because, as you can see, the driver's side is only like a couple feet off the ground. And you can totally tell that it's dry. It was a nice day, so he was going way too fast, obviously. So you see me running out there. The only thing I had to pry with was a shovel, so try that on the door. Try to see where his foot was stuck on the driver's side, but we couldn't get to him. The UPS driver comes back down to help, and shortly after that, a couple ranchers come up, and they have a couple pry bars. So on the passenger side, we were able to get the door open, but it was so scrunched and stuff that the chair was in the way. Couldn't really get to him. So I noticed that the sleeper, because it has a bigger sleeper, the bottom right side, which would be the top, was starting to pop off the rivets. So we take the pry bars and pop off the whole side of the truck. The ranchers had a rope in their truck, so we pulled it the rest of the way off because it was kind of hard to at least get to the guy. The guy was, saying, "Hey, I'm stuck the other side," but we couldn't get to the other side because it was so smashed. But we at least got to him and tell the EMTs and everyone else got there because he was stuck. Like, we couldn't do really much else besides that, but we thought we could at least get everything cleared out of the way so they could get to him. And I was there a couple hours, and he was still stuck. So a couple things that really opened my mind though when we were taking him out was there was stuff everywhere. There was tools, there was trash, bags, I mean all kinds of stuff that either hit him or could have, but also even if it didn't hit you, it took us quite a while to dig him out. Dig everything out to him. So just, I mean, he was probably living in that sleeper, so he had more than we would normally have, but definitely pay attention to that and your speeds. So the hardest part about this is after I left, I just thought about what if it was me, you know, what if I didn't go home that day because, you know, you were not paying attention or whatever, driving too fast, so it's not worth that. But it's a pretty intense situation for me to roll up on that, but I was happy there was a UPS guy and a couple ranchers to help out because I couldn't make it up the hill and come back down very quickly. So, but when I left, he was still coherent, so I don't know. He was trying to fall asleep, so he either had some type of head damage or bleeding. He said at one point it was bleeding, but I don't know. So, anyway, just figure out it would suck to be stuck for that long. And you know
Was
what's
he
there to
upside
pull out.
down or
Yeah.
was he?
Yeah, it's hard to tell in here, but it's completely tipped over on its top. So, but
Well, thank you.
yep.
Very good, bud, thank you.
All right, so like I said, a lot of these things we're going to talk about pertain not so much to Chris, but our fellow guy here in the ditch. So behavior-based safety. Foundation of these topics we're going to cover today is behavior-based safety. Basically, what this does is helps us focus on our decisions and our behaviors in order to identify and choose safe behaviors over unsafe ones. Does anyone in the room, this is going to be kind of a hard question, remember from onboarding or when I've said it before, what percentage of incidents in our industry are due to unsafe behaviors?
93%.
Close.
96.
Farther away.
85.
No.
87.
Higher.
90.
90. Who said that?
Me.
Kim. Kim. Kim gets a hat.
I'm sorry for disappointing you.
So yes, 90% of incidents are due to unsafe behaviors. So only 10% are due to unsafe conditions, which means that's something outside of your control. So 90% of things that happen are due to the decisions you're making and have full control over. In behavior-based safety, these three things here interact during it. So people, the person, this includes their knowledge, their skills, their intelligence, motives, competency, their personality, attitudes, and values they have. The environment, that can include equipment, tools, machines, any housekeeping around. I mean, even things like the quality of his truck and what he had inside of there. Materials, safety rules, and operating procedures. And then behavior, so complying, coaching, recognizing, and communicating. All three of those things work together to create this behavior-based safety. It follows what's called the ABC model. So A, antecedents or activators. These affect how you behave, and they're only, so it's what drives your behavior and comes before the actual behavior. These are only as powerful as the consequences that support them. So for example, there's a powerful, highly sought after recognition, people are obviously going to work harder to achieve that recognition. And vice versa, same thing, if there's a weak consequence, no one is really going to care if they receive that consequence. So deterring that behavior is not really going to be sought after. So then we have B, behaviors, the acts or actions that can be observed. So what you actually do, they're visible. And then these have consequences. So that's obviously what happens to the performer as the result of an act or behavior. They can be positive or negative. A lot of people have a negative kind of stigma around the word consequence, but you can also have positive consequences. Again, that term just means the result of a behavior. So positive reinforcement is going to reinforce or encourage positive behaviors. and a negative reinforcement is going to deter negative behaviors. So again, recognitions, positive, discipline, negative. So this training, this behavior-based safety training, attempts to reduce work-related injuries by creating a whole culture of safe behavior through observation, feedback, and positive interventions. So the basic principles of it, again, feedback is essential to improvement. So we observe, we give feedback. If you think about how our audits work, for example, we observe you, are you doing things safe? And then we're going to give you feedback on that. Consequences should motivate the behavior. Again, discipline, you don't want that. That should motivate you to do the positive thing, do safe acts, or recognition. Positive recognition should be incentivizing you to do those safe activities. Participation creates ownership. So if you participate in the safe culture, you're taking ownership of your own actions and striving again toward that overall culture. Continuous improvement happens when we work together. It should span from this program itself, behavior-based safety, should span from supervisors to drivers to shop to management, all levels in between. We need to work together to create, again, this deep culture focusing on safety. And last, being proactive rather than reactive. We need to take steps to avoid incidents before they actually happen, rather than reacting after something already happens. So consequences, we talked about activated behaviors and consequences. There's a few segments of the consequences. They need to be soon. So it should be immediately after a behavior or performance. There should be no question as to when it happened. So again, positive or negative. If you did something great, you should be recognized immediately. And same with if you did something wrong, disciplined immediately. You shouldn't have any questions on when this happened. They should be sure. So you should know, number one, again in the positive sense, number one, you know you're going to be recognized. If you do something good, you're going to get that recognition and you know you're going to get it. And two, why you were being recognized. It shouldn't be, well, I guess I got lucky, yay me. You should be making that conscious effort to receive that recognition because you are striving for that positive safety culture. For example, one of the things we use as a positive reinforcement is that safety incentive you guys receive. It's not a built-in paycheck. A lot of times we hear, I lost my bonus, when in reality you never earned that bonus in the first place. It's incentive, right? So it's just that, an incentive for taking those extra steps to create that safe environment. Putting in the effort to earn that. And last, it is sincere, it is genuine. It's meant to exemplify the performer, so in terms, again, of positive things. You did something good, we know you made that conscious effort to achieve it. We're exemplifying you as, even elite employees, things like that, as above and beyond. The core beliefs in a safety-minded culture, all injuries are preventable. So these should be foundational things that you believe if you believe in that safety culture. All injuries are preventable. We want to actively pursue avoiding injuries. There's always something you can do to avoid it. You are responsible. You're responsible for your own safety. No one else can keep you safe out there except for you taking those personal decisions and making those choices. Management is also responsible for the overall safety in the workplace, not for your personal safety. So that can include things like best safe work practices, proper procedures on how to do things, and give you guys training so you know what you're doing. Working safely is a condition of employment. If you are not a safe employee, you are a liability. Do companies enjoy hiring and employing liabilities? It's not a rhetorical question. No, we don't. Without education and training, so that's essential, it's hard to know what's expected and how to do a job properly, so education and training are needed to create that safe atmosphere. Safety should never be compromised. Safety, production, we talk about this often as well. Safety, production, cost, and quality all depend on each other. If one is lacking, the others are going to suffer as well. So, for example, when production is down, that's when most people decide to cut corners, in turn then decreasing safety and quality. And if safety is being neglected, our quality and production ultimately decrease, thus costs increase. All of them are going to affect each other one way or another. should never be compromised for production or convenience. Convenience should never justify getting another load for a day, right? Just because it might seem easier doesn't mean you should choose it and not follow the safest action. Somebody tell me what stop work is.
Unsafe conditions, ability to stop work at any time, as long as if the condition.
Right, and obligate. Who said that? Okay, I'm gonna give both of you a hat. Yes, so stop work, again, not only your right to stop work for unsafe conditions, but also your obligation. It is your duty to do it, regardless if you feel like you want to or not. It's a part of your job. And last one here, it's vital to long-term success. So continuing health, wellness, and safety of each employee is vital to our long-term success as a company. Yes, cutting that corner in the moment may up production short-term, but ultimately in the long term, it's going to come back bite in the butt. It becomes the norm. You're going to get complacent with cutting that corner, and then ultimately the company as a whole is going to suffer after that. Worker roles and responsibilities for BBS. You want to develop a safety attitude, participate in the actual BBS training, make sure you know what it is and what it entails. Participate in any safety meetings that support the BBS processes. Keep an eye on your fellow coworkers. Yes, you again are responsible for your own safety, but you're also responsible for recognizing if someone else is doing something unsafe that needs to be addressed. So taking that direct role and making sure everyone is working safely. Safe driving techniques. According to NIOSH, motor vehicles are the leading cause of work-related deaths in the U.S. About 36% of work-related fatalities reported are associated with motor vehicles. So again, something we do often and has a large effect, on human life, period. Some driving hazards you can encounter, I think we're all pretty familiar: distracted driving, speeding, aggressive driving, drowsiness, being under the influence, severe weather, not wearing your seatbelts, and unexpected road conditions. Again, you can be exposed to these whether you're on the job or off the job. It's not just something that's specifically related to job-related duties. Your safe driving practices: don't use cell phones, don't eat or drink, obey the speed limits, don't engage in or respond to aggressive driving behavior, be fit for duty and well rested, always drive sober, check the weather, and always wear your seatbelt. Preventing distracted driving: make sure you send texts and make phone calls before you're driving, keep your conversations to a minimum, and pay attention to your surroundings. Again, this relates back to your behavior, what you're deciding to do and how you're acting. They're all your choices. Driving is your number one priority while you are behind the wheel. Everything else is secondary. Speeding, something everyone knows we take seriously here at Prairie, whether that be a driver in his semi-truck or whether that be a mechanic out on a road call or a test drive. Again, speeding in itself contributes to 30% of roadway fatalities annually. So some tips to avoid speeding: stay aware of the posted speed limits, be actively engaged in your surroundings, use your cruise control when situations allow for it, pay attention to your speed, and slow down before you come to a slower speed sign, and speed up after you hit the upper speeds. Defensive driving: you want to pay attention to your own driving first and foremost. Use proper following distance. What's proper following distance?
500 feet. 3 lengths of the vehicle.
2
4
seconds.
seconds for a truck.
What's that?
4 seconds for a truck.
60 seconds for the length of the vehicle.
6 seconds plus 1 for every hazard present. Okay. Use your blinker and merge safely as needed. Leave early to allow times for detours and unexpected delays so you're not rushing to get somewhere. You have that extra time. Ignore aggressive behavior and stay alert. Make sure you're well rested and take your breaks if you need to. Rollovers. Root causes of rollovers: we have distractions. Again, driving is your number one priority while you are behind the wheel. Nothing else is as important as that task you're doing. Complacency: again, we drive every single day, not only in our shifts, but in our personal lives as well. We're very comfortable with it, and we often check out. We get used to the roads we're driving on, used to the routes we're doing. So make sure you're actively engaged in your surroundings. And your speeds: not having control of your vehicle and not having enough reaction time contributes to those rollovers. Our last little section here, prairie driving policy, so we'll go over our actual policy. These two things here are very important. You have to have proof of licensing, and it'll be retained in your personnel file if you are driving company vehicles. Our corporate insurance covers employees driving company vehicles. If you choose to use your own vehicle for any company business, your insurance will be the primary involved if an incident does happen while you're out doing that company business. If work is conducted on client-owned sites that require additional training, you do need to complete that before being authorized to complete that work there. For example, Devon training. Our safety precautions. All drivers have to possess a valid driver's license for the class of vehicle that they are operating. It's the driver's responsibility to notify Prairie and the state if their license is suspended, revoked, or changed for any reason. That includes med cards, changing your med cards, downgrade of your license, anything like that. Your responsibility. Make sure you're complying with all state laws and federal regulations. You're prohibited from operating vehicles while taking any prescription or over-the-counter medications that can impair your ability to drive that vehicle. And you need to stop driving if you are tired or fatigued. Make sure you're getting that taken care of and you're properly rested. There's no smoking allowed in any Prairie vehicles or any client-owned, rented, or leased vehicles by Prairie or during refueling. Passengers transported in the vehicles need to be passengers transported need to be in vehicles designed to do so. So, for example, truck beds, you can't transport people in truck beds, and you can't have more people than seatbelts in the vehicle as well. Personnel assigned a long-term Prairie vehicle will make sure that the vehicle operates properly, and the driver is going to ensure that all seatbelts are worn by occupants in the vehicle and that they're properly secured before the vehicles are started. Driver responsibilities, pre-post trip inspections, we're all pretty darn familiar with those, but those need to be conducted before you go out, and make sure you're reporting any DOT-related issues with your vehicle. Make sure your day running lights or headlights are on during daytime except where it's prohibited by law. You must utilize a spotter when backing up if they're available. Sound your horn when moving forward or backward prior to the vehicle moving. Wear your hard hat and all other PPE while on duty and out of your vehicle. Ball caps are not to be worn underneath your hard hats. You're required to chain up when conditions require it, and no unauthorized personnel are allowed in company vehicles. If a company vehicle, or your own while you're out on company duties, are involved in an incident on a company job, regardless of the severity, following procedure needs to be followed. If anyone's injured, 911 needs to be called. Do not make any statements or comment indicating any fault on yourself or the other driver. Make sure we're notifying supervisor, calling dispatch, getting the supervisor sent out, notifying the police to report the incident. We'll complete the incident report form documenting the date, time, place, any environmental conditions, people present, witness names and contact info, the involved vehicle's make, model, VIN, year, and insurance. I know this is a lot of information in this one slide. And then the ops manager needs to be notified immediately as well. They'll notify HR and make emergency contacts if needed and fill out the first report of injury if needed. HR is going to help with the workers' comp claim if applicable, and then the whole incident's going to be reviewed, that typical incident response procedure that we have, with probable cause and corrective actions needed. That does it for our topics today. Questions, comments, concerns on any pieces of those? I saw this moving a lot, so.
There's nothing really on there.
Okay, great.
Can I add to that with your emergency contacts? I've sent it out multiple times asking people if you guys have emergency contacts that are not updated in Paycor. When they transferred it over, a lot of those didn't transfer, so they're not in there. So if you guys get in and look and you don't have an emergency contact, or if you need to update it, like your ex-girlfriend is your emergency contact, you might want to let me know that so that I can get that updated in there so we're calling the right people.
Where in Paycor do they update it, Kim? Is it in their profile?
I don't know if they can do it. It's under their personal information,
Okay.
Similar to where their address, phone number, all of that's in there. So give it a shot. If you can update it, cool. If not, it doesn't let you, send me a message and I'll get it turned on so you guys can update it.
All right, Sal.
You can do it.
That was a lot of information. And it's funny seeing all that safety stuff, because right now, more than half of us in this room shouldn't be alive based on that stuff that we did, because I guarantee you all of us rode in the back of a truck at some time. You know, so, that being said, a lot of that stuff was come across as pretty basic things that we go over every day, especially when you're learning to drive. Recently, in a lot of the shop moments, we've been doing a lot of basic stuff, and the reason we're doing that is because the assumption is that everyone knows what they're getting into. We know in the shop what to look for at brakes, what to look for with the rear ends, whereas a lot of drivers sometimes don't, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we're doing what we're doing, so that everyone can get on the same page, and you guys can start to see more what we're looking for as well. And this one, brakes and drums, it all stops here. Nobody heard it? Okay, and that's all right. That's okay. We got nothing but time. I'm good. Okay. This here is a picture of your average brand new set of shoes. Notice the wear mark in the middle of the pad. When that mark is no longer visible, it's time to replace. And generally, we catch those ahead of time. And again, we're the ones crawling underneath there checking stuff out. If a driver by chance does get underneath there and look really close, they'll be able to recognize it as well. So again, basic stuff, just something to keep an eye on, so that, like I said, we're on the same page. When the drums are worn down, the shoes will walk. No pun intended there. Just throwing it out there. Out of the drum is shown here, and what that is too is the drums will usually be pretty smooth, like we saw in the first picture. When they're set right and everything's working well, they'll wear a groove in the middle of there, and it's going to be hard for them to walk out. When the drums are bad, when the new shoes are put on, this is what'll happen.
And that
They'll walk
picture
out.
is with the brakes set.
Mm-hmm. So this one was caught in the shop on just a regular. All we were doing was greasing, and we started looking there, and we caught this. So new drum and brake will appear as shown here. Notice how the shoe is recessed inside the drum. No walking. I'm trying here, people. So anyways, when you get them set up right, like I said, they'll be recessed and they won't walk. And again, if they stay like this, which they should, if everything's set up right as far as the S-cam and everything that we adjust, it'll wear that groove in at that depth, and that's how we'll know that the drum will still be usable for a little longer. That being said, last thing to be sure is that the slack adjusters are set right. They're in place and they haven't walked. They haven't walked. Okay, walked out of adjustment. I thought I was on fire with this stuff. but anyways, again, this is something that dropping on one knee, taking a quick look underneath, you'd notice. This truck came into the yard like this, so somewhere along the line, this was missed. And again, we're not looking at pointing fingers. We're not saying it was anyone's direct fault. What it come down to, again, like I said in the past, when failures like this happen and issues come up, it's us that falls for that, not a specific person. That'll come later. The bad part is when these things happen and the brakes don't work, something bad happens and this stuff is picked up, all they notice is the big prairie sign on the side of the truck. So that being said, the next couple of the ones we'll be doing monthly here is going to be on a lot of basic stuff to start. And the reason we're trying to get this set now, we do have a lot of new people coming on, so I want them to be aware that our doors are always open. If there's questions, please ask, because what I don't want is for us to assume that you know what you're looking at all the time. Same with us. I ask drivers stuff all the time. I don't drive trucks, so I don't know what you guys hear and see and feel. That being said, gonna be a better year, gonna be a great year. So that's what we're shooting for. So that's all I got. Questions? You? Nobody? Okay.
Steve?
It's okay, that wasn't too tiring. Which Steve?
No. David, are you or Steve going over?
They're slacking.
Aren't you going over that, Sarah? No, not
I can.
Right, here's David.
You guys don't know where Steve is. You know, with the inception of this over-the-road stuff, these guys get inspected all the time. Mike Daniels got a level 1 in California today. He's driving the green Freightliner, which came to us from Boyer, ready to go. It's great. But you guys from the shop found out-of-service violations on it and fixed them. As a result of that, going through the report, which he got the little sticker for the window that says he passed a complete level 1, which is great because now he's got 3 months that if they pull him into a port, they won't inspect him. And it's the diligence you guys in the shop did, making sure that was truly ready to go. And Mike for doing his pre-trips and post-trips properly, because he's been trucking in that for, 8 to 10 days now. And he stays up on it, and you guys didn't let it go out with defects on it. We really appreciate that because that really helps our DOT stuff. And thanks to you guys for going through these things before they hit the road.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Hey. Sorry, I forgot the sheets again. Next we have our recognitions, our kudos for the week. First we have Randy Ray by Lisa Carter. Randy goes above and beyond when asked to switch loads or priority loads that we need hauled ASAP. He always sends in levels to dispatch. Randy has a great attitude as well. He's always helpful and courteous. Thank you for that, Randy. And then we have Wally Shamber by Richard Wendling for providing excellent customer service. Wally arrived at the Tillard 3676 to pull a load of oil. During Wally's pre-checks, he observed the water tanks had developed a leak, causing uncontrolled product release. Wally took ownership and wanted to stop the leak. Further inspection led him to the secondary control valve to find that the secondary control valve had been padlocked in the open position. Realizing there was now a bigger issue, Wally ceased his daily operations, began reaching out and making reports to appropriate personnel. Wally took it upon himself to man the location and be responsible for it until the producer took ownership and Wally could be relieved. Thank you, Wally, for constantly going the extra distances in order to provide service excellence and aid in the trust maintained between our company and our customers.
Good job, Wally.
Last we have ops notes. Jason? Not last. I'm going to go over some safety meeting stuff.
I don't really have anything for ops notes because everybody's been doing a great job. I want to say thank you to the drivers. You guys have been doing a great job. Haven't had anything to report or anything come up. Have you, Kyle? So it's been great, and I want to say thank you. Everybody's been doing good. Keep it up.
Good job, gentlemen.
Yay! Okay, we still seem to have a bit of confusion on how this is working. Everyone got an email today explaining how the safety meetings are working, so if you don't understand still, check that email. I guess we'll just walk through it one more time. You watch it the same way on YouTube. Instead of filling out the form on Google Docs, you will now do the quiz in your Paycor. If you're doing it on a mobile device, just go to your app and then scroll down to Company Learning and then click on that and everything that's been assigned to you will be there. Make sure you're, obviously, if you're doing this week's meeting, it's going to be at a 0% until you finish it. If you click on a different one that you already did, it's going to be at 100%. So you guys will have the entire month to get credit for them. So 20-some to 30-some days.
23 days. 5
Yeah,
days,
but I mean,
25.
some months we literally do this on the first day of the month, so you'll have 31 days to get the meeting completed. Okay? you're doing it on a or on a computer, you can just click the link in the description box under the video, and it'll take you there. You'll log in with your single sign-on. But if you're on a mobile device, if you click that link, it's just going to take you to the Perform login. So you want to go to your actual app, and go to the company learning. Again, simple, straightforward, 3 to 5 questions every week. That's how you get credit.
Month.
Every month. Okay, we're still transitioning. Are there any questions? Joe, online, I have not assigned it to you yet. I didn't want to assign it 6 hours early and then you don't actually watch the video. So I will be assigning it right after the meeting's done. You'll be able to go in, do your 5 questions, making sure you understand the main topics of our meetings. There you have credit.
This is through Paycor.
Yep, it's on your app, nice and easy.
I don't have an app, it won't come through my phone. I
Okay,
can do it on my-
you can do it on the computer. I would just go to the video and click the link then, if you're on a computer. Are there any questions about it?
You
Okay,
haven't set your Paycor up.
yeah, if you're not on Paycor, you're not gonna be getting credit for meetings.
You're not getting paid.
Yeah, you're not getting paid either if you're out, you're right.
So-
Okay,
So Sierra,
yes.
we can't do it during the meeting?
No, unfortunately, you have to watch the whole topic.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know, isn't that unfortunate?
Everyone throws their phone down.
Any other questions?
I got a comment here just to kind of over the different things that's been going on with the presidency and all that, this crap that's happening across the United States. Casper and Wyoming in general is a pretty safe place, but let's not let our guards down on our personal time. Friday night, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I had somebody try to come into my house.
Oh.
Now, I have a bad habit of not locking my doors 100% of the time. So, don't let your guys' guards down. Usually, you know, there's some bad areas in Casper, but I live in a really good area and it happened. So, let's keep our eyes and ears open out there.
Did you get to hurt someone?
Well, no,
His lawyer
he
said
left
no.
I
too
know,
quick.
I know you.
He left too quick.
You're always ready to
I got chased down the road, but I lost him. So, anyway, just don't let your guard down, guys. Let's keep our
Right.
personal life safe too.
A couple more questions on the safety meetings online as well. Not completely true, there's no benefit to doing it live. Again, we just had conversation from Chad here. We engage in dialogue and conversation live. That's the main point of being live, engaging in that conversation and dialogue. But again, we're not focusing on checking a box to make sure that you're just here in the room, right? We want you to actually understand the material given to you so you can apply it to your day-to-day operations. So, again, like the FR hats these guys won today too, that's another benefit of being in person here. We're gonna have benefits like that for you to actually be here as well, because we miss out on things like Chad's comment about personal safety as well, so, or Chris's explanation on his experience out in the field, so. Live is always better in my personal opinion, and I think most in here would agree as well, so that'll do. Everybody have a safe week this month, and we will see you next month.
Week.